traveling around the world.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Just want to tell all the Laker fans out there, I know a lot of you guys follow LeBron James, that they signed Tristan Thompson to the Lakers. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing.
That's a good thing for the playoffs. Give him more size.
The last game he played, I think, was 2021-2022 season for the Chicago Bulls, where he averaged 5.7 points and 4.7 rebounds.
I think they're in the play-in now. They're the number
they're playing.
7 seed?
Yeah, they're playing the Timberwolves. The Pelicans take on the Thunder. Raptors take on the Bulls. And the Heat take on the Hawks. Now, Teslin's with us. Good morning, Teslin Figueroa.
Good morning, everybody. Good to be back.
Yes. Now, what's been going on? What's happening in Tennessee?
Man, we have missed so much while you guys were gone. We had Trump calling to defund the police. Tennessee was Tennessean, and Texas is still Texas. So we have a lot to catch up on. I hope everyone taps in at the 6 and 7 o'clock hour. But we're going to start first with Tennessee. Now, this story has been everywhere. I know a lot of folks have been seeing it on the news and may have heard of a particular story called the Tennessee Three. Mm-hmm. Now, last week on April 6th, Tennessee House Democrats, Representative Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, and Gloria Johnson joined protesters in Nashville at the State House to advocate for gun control reform and call out Republican leaders for not taking action following the mass shootings. Now, while all three Democrats were protesting on the House floor, Jones and Pearson, who are both black, used a bullhorn to lead chants briefly disrupting legislative business. Now, Gloria Johnson, who is the white Democrat, was standing there with Jones and Pearson, but she did not use the bullhorn. Now, because of the protests, the House voted to expel all three Democrats. And I want you guys to take a listen to what Representative Justin Pearson said on the floor right before the vote.
Resurrection is a promise. And it is a prophecy. It's a prophecy that came out of the cotton fields. It's a prophecy that came out of the lynching tree. It's a prophecy that still lives in each and every one of us in order to make the state of Tennessee the place that it ought to be. And so I've still got hope because I know we are still here and we will never quit.
Yeah, so while he was giving that passionate speech, protesters were still, there, joining him up. You could see him up, at the top of the State House. And so even though, he gave a passionate speech, obviously, so did Justin Jones, they were still expelled. But the vote to expel their colleague, Gloria Johnson, again, who is white, failed by one vote. Now, when the media asked Gloria Johnson why they believe she was spared, she said that she believes it was because of the color of her skin.
Duh.
Right.
So just break this down for me. So just because they were with the protesters, that's the reason why they were expelled? And is that lawfully right?
Well, it was because they used the bullhorn. So it wasn't just because they protest, but they did it out of order. And so it went against decorum. But again, this is something that's unprecedented. It hasn't happened before in this way. And so just to be clear, it has been done 3 times before with Tennessee, not for this particular reason. I just want to give some folks some background on that. They have expelled members 3 times. One in 1866, 6 members were expelled for the contempt of authority of the House. In 1980, they expelled a member for who was found guilty of accepting a bribe while in office. And then in 2016, a Republican was expelled for disorderly conduct about some allegations for inappropriate sexual conduct. So they have expelled members before, but not for protests or using the bullhorn. And so they said that was out of order and they should have asked to speak.
It feels like they just been waiting for an opportunity to do something to these 2 young men. That's what it feels like. Because it's just hard for me to believe that this peaceful protest led to them getting voted out.
Yeah, this is really extreme, and I've been telling people whether people agree with what they were standing for, which was gun control, whether people agree if they're Democrats or not, for this to happen to disenfranchise, over 200,000 voters, because that is what all three collectively represent, and to remove their voice, that is what I feel is missing in the conversation, Charlamagne. They're talking a lot about these individuals, but it's really, to me, about the voters. They literally do not have representation. Now, today there will be a vote on the county side, the city side, my apologies, to decide if they can send Jones back to, represent his constituents in the interim. They have not decided when they're going to do a vote to see when they can get Pearson back. But what basically, make a long story short, what will happen with that is they can go represent their constituents on a temporary basis, but both of them will still have to run again to hold that seat in a special election and a general election. So they have to go through the process all over again, even though these gentlemen were just elected just a few short months ago.
And I agree. It's about the voters, and it's also about gun control. And I hope this isn't one of those situations where people fall in love with the messengers and forget about the message, because all last week when I was away, I kept seeing folks say these two are stars and this situation has propelled them into stardom. And I was like, well, don't forget the message. The message is about them trying to get the GOP legislators there to push some real gun legislation.
Right. Or be so upset at the messenger because maybe you don't like Democrats. For a lot of conservatives were saying, well, I don't like what they're pushing. But guess what? They can take away your voice, too, for the things that you believe in. So this is about democracy and being able to have a representative to go and do what? Represent you and what you feel is important. So you're right on that, Charlamagne.
All right. Well, that is your front page news. Now, Tesla, we'll see you in about an hour, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051 if you need to vent.
I'm so distracted by this fresh paint job.
Yo, shut up. Yo, why are you on my page?
Beijing is crazy.
Why are you trying to bully me in the morning, man?
I'm just trying to figure out how do you shower with that.
What are you talking about? Look, I'm gonna have you come here and lick it just to see if it comes off.
Whoa, don't start, bro.
800-585-1051. If you need to vent, call us up right now. Let us know how your Easter was. Hopefully it was great. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We're back off vacation, and it's time for some front page news. We got Tesla and Figaro back with us. Good morning, Tez.
Good morning. I'm in the building. I'm so glad to see you guys again.
Glad to see you too. But let's start this off. Donald Trump. What are we talking about?
Yeah, you just can't make this up. I'm going to try to get through this without laughing, but it is hilarious because after being arrested, Donald Trump is no longer on Team Back the Blue. He is now on Team Defund the Police. Trump wrote on his social media platform, Republicans in Congress should defund the DOJ and the FBI until they come to their senses, and that the Democrats have totally weaponized law enforcement in our country and are viciously using this abuse of power to interfere with our already under siege elections. Now let's do a quick throwback and listen to what Donald Trump said when he was running for re-election in 2020. Let's roll the tape.
There won't be defunding. There won't be dismantling of our police.
Wow. That's not going to impact him in any way because a lot of his supporters probably feel the same way at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just the hypocrisy of it all, and I was looking at a lot of conservatives saying, oh, I thought you guys weren't on the police's side, so it's just changing up the narrative. Once you arrest me, it's all about defunding the police. But when it was about, George Floyd, because that was when he made that statement, that was during the George Floyd protests in 2020, they did not want to look at all at what we could do to what they call reimagine the police force. And just for clarity, it was never about defunding the police, but reallocating those funds to prevent violence. It was never about getting rid of the police department. So it's going to be interesting how they move forward in the 2024 election and how they talk about that, because that was one of their main, the conservatives' talking points, which is Democrats are trying to defund the police. So it's been interesting watching Republicans kind of, skate around that topic over the last few days.
Let me ask you a question, Ted. Is it just me, or is this Trump indictment, does it seem like just another headline? Like, it shouldn't be, because it's the first time a president has ever had criminal charges, brought against him. But it feels like it's just another headline. And the fact that, he didn't have to do the walk.
He wasn't really arrested.
He didn't put no handcuffs. You ain't seen no mug shot. That's the epitome of privilege. Whether you want to call it white privilege, presidential privilege, that's the epitome of privilege.
It was detention. That's what he got, detention. Yeah. That's it.
Right. Shout out to Plies. He made a post talking about, when have you ever been arrested and not taken a mugshot? So, yeah, that's offensive to people who have had to go through the entire process. It was, some folks will say political theater because he could have just did that from a Zoom, to be honest with you. But now, Charlamagne, now they're talking about, moving forward with that Georgia case. And that Georgia case will be that RICO, so when we're going to see, what that looks like, which, we talked about this before on what is the stronger case. So, we're going to see what's going to happen.
That's what we need. We need Trump caught up in a RICO. Because, boy, if y'all thought these rappers snitching was entertaining, when Donald Trump get to talking, boy, you talk about Nino Brown levels of theater. You hear me? That's what you want. That's
high
what
level
we want.
political theater. And they said it's going to be several people. I know Giuliani was named in it as well. So, Georgia's getting ready to treat him like a rapper. So it's going to be on and popping if they move forward with that case. Definitely a lot of theater for us to be entertained while they.
Young Thug case is one thing, but old Thug case going to be something special. You hear me?
You stupid. Now let's talk about Texas Governor Greg Abbott. What's going on with him?
Yeah, a jury on Friday convicted Sergeant Daniel Perry for the shooting death of Garrett Foster, who was 28 at the time, at the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests in Austin, Texas. Now, to give you some quick background, Perry was working as an Uber driver on July 25th, 2020, when he shot and killed Foster. Perry ran a red light and drove into a group of protesters. So Foster approached his vehicle with a AK-47 rifle. Perry then shot Foster 5 times with a revolver before driving away. Now, prosecutors said that Perry instigated the attack, pointing out that he made a series of Facebook posts where he said, "I might kill a few people on my way to work. They are rioting outside my apartment complex." Now, since then, the Fox News hosts Tucker Carlson and Kyle Rittenhouse, you guys remember him, who was acquitted for shooting 3 men, 2 fatally, urged Governor Abbott to pardon Perry. So on Saturday, Governor Abbott said in a tweet, "I look forward to approving the board's pardon recommendation as soon as it hits my desk." Now, the thing with this, guys, is this just happened on Friday. The board hasn't recommended to pardon anybody. And so this is obviously him using his influence to say what he expects, which is, you better send me that pardon. And as soon as he does, I will certainly be granting that, because he said that Texas has some of the strongest stand your ground laws in the country.
Yeah, but that's not a stand your ground if you tweet out, if it's premeditated. It's actually premeditated murder. If you tweet out or post on Facebook, I plan on killing some protesters today, and then you run your car into a group of protesters, that's not staying your ground.
Not at all.
Right. Absolutely. And again, running into the protesters. So one could say that Foster was protecting himself, you know, right. And then we look at the Rittenhouse case, he literally was going after protesters, so again, the hypocrisy of it all. We're seeing this in Texas, Tennessee, Mississippi. A lot is, the South has something to say. And unfortunately, that is not necessarily going in our favor these days.
It never has been. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. I can't wait to see what Greg Abbott's reasoning is for giving this pardon. It can't be self-defense, because this clearly isn't the case of self-defense.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. And he's saying as soon as it hits his desk, he can't wait to sign it.
Wow. All right, well.
Boy, it's open season on Negroes.
Yes, it is.
I need y'all to understand that. It's open season. As a matter of fact, let me say this in a way y'all understand. It's open season on N-words. See, I can't say it. I wanted to say the N-word. I don't want to say it. But it's open season on N-words. I just want y'all to know that.
Yeah, and, and this has nothing to do with it, but you know what I watched on my way back from Mexico?
Roots.
I watched Till.
Oh, Till.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, you ain't see Till?
I ain't see Till inside.
Oh, man. Till is something serious.
Jesus Christ. And the fact that lady is still alive and she hasn't been found, or no charges been pressed against her, nothing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very sad. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tesla Figueroa. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
All right.
And make sure you subscribe to Tesla and Figaro's podcast, Straight Shot No Chaser, on the Black Effect iHeartRadio Podcast Network. And Tez will be in Atlanta too, April 22nd for the Black Effect Podcast Festival.
All right. Well, we'll be back. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning. Thank you, Tez.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.